Christian Gomez from Colombia in T1 is P1. Christian Gomez is up 19.20 in T3. Christian Gomez is up 21.28 in T6. Christian Gomez is up 23.54 in T9. The qualifying session is now in overtime. The race session is at 2018, layout in Road, Atlanta, USA. The wind speed is 1 km/h from the south-southwest. Christian Gomez is P1. Jean-Pierre Ferrand from Colombia is P2 on softs. J.Enriquez from Colombia is third on mediums. Juan Pablo Aristizabal from Colombia is P4 on mediums. Jose Miguel Moncada from Colombia is P5 on mediums. Jerson Robia from Colombia is 6th on softs. Esteban Gomez from Colombia is P7 on softs. Diego Ortiz from Colombia is P8 on mediums. Ricardo Pineda from Colombia is P9 on mediums. Yanli from China is P10 on mediums. Camilo Gomez from Colombia is 11th on mediums. Christian Gomez from Colombia is 1st on mediums. Race start. Jean-Pierre Ferrand in T1 is P2. J.Enriquez is third. Diego Ortiz is P8. Yanli is 11th. Juan Pablo Aristizabal in T10B is 4th. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is now P3. J.Enriquez on lap 2 is P5, 0.4 behind Jerson Robia. Ricardo Pineda in T3 is 10. Best lap is a 1:31.976. 9.801 off the fastest lap. Juan Pablo Aristizabal in T6 is 4th, 0.1 behind Jerson Robia. Yanli entering the pits is 11th. J.Enriquez in T8 is 5th. Best lap is a 1:26.252. 4.077 off the fastest lap. J.Enriquez passed Juan Pablo Aristizabal for 4th. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is P5 on mediums, 0.5 behind J.Enriquez. Jose Miguel Moncada in the SEs is 7th. Best lap is a 1:16.656. 2.402 off the fastest lap. J.Enriquez from Colombia is P4, 0.9 behind Jerson Robia. Jose Miguel Moncada in T10B is P7 on mediums, 0.2 behind Esteban Gomez. Diego Ortiz is P8, 0.1 behind Jose Miguel Moncada. Diego Ortiz was 0.9 faster last lap. J.Enriquez is 4th, 0.3 behind Jerson Robia. J.Enriquez passed Jerson Robia for P3. Jerson Robia in T7 is P4 on softs, 0.5 behind J.Enriquez. Jose Miguel Moncada in T10A is P7, 0.5 behind Esteban Gomez. Jerson Robia in T2 is 4th on softs, 0.5 behind J.Enriquez. Jerson Robia lost P5 to Esteban Gomez. Jerson Robia lost 6th to Jose Miguel Moncada. Jerson Robia lost P7 to Ricardo Pineda. Jose Miguel Moncada in T6 is P6, 1.2 behind Esteban Gomez. Diego Ortiz in T7 is 10th. Diego Ortiz passed Ricardo Pineda for P9. Jose Miguel Moncada in the SEs is P6. Best lap is a 1:15.973. 2.363 off the fastest lap. Esteban Gomez in T6 is 6th on softs, 0.2 behind Jose Miguel Moncada. Diego Ortiz is 9th. Best lap is a 1:16.718. 3.455 off the fastest lap. Esteban Gomez in the SEs is 6th. Best lap is a 1:15.989. 2.726 off the fastest lap. Jerson Robia in T1 is P9, 0.4 behind Diego Ortiz. Esteban Gomez from Colombia in T10A is P6, 0.8 behind Jose Miguel Moncada. Ricardo Pineda is 10th, 1.4 behind Jerson Robia. Jerson Robia in T12 is 10th, battling Ricardo Pineda. Juan Pablo Aristizabal in T11 on lap 8 is 4th, 5.0 behind J.Enriquez. Jose Miguel Moncada in the SEs is P5. Jerson Robia entering the pits is P10. Yanli from China in T11 is P11. Yanli passed Jerson Robia for 10th. Ricardo Pineda is P9. Best lap is a 1:15.542. 2.279 off the fastest lap. Camilo Gomez is 7th, 1.4 behind Esteban Gomez. Jerson Robia exiting pits on softs. Ricardo Pineda in T4 is P9 on mediums, 0.5 behind Diego Ortiz. Ricardo Pineda passed Diego Ortiz for P8. Esteban Gomez in T8 on lap 10 is 6th. Diego Ortiz on lap 10 is P10. Jerson Robia in T11 is 11th. Jerson Robia entering the pits is 11th. J.Enriquez is 3rd, 3.5 behind Jean-Pierre Ferrand. Diego Ortiz entering the pits is P10. Jerson Robia exiting pits on softs. Jerson Robia in T3 is 11th. Best lap is a 1:14.726. 1.533 off the fastest lap. Camilo Gomez from Colombia in T4 is 7th. Diego Ortiz exiting pits on supers. Esteban Gomez is P6. Jerson Robia entering the pits is 11th. Jose Miguel Moncada is 5th. J.Enriquez is 3rd. Best lap is a 1:13.548. 0.496 off the fastest lap. Ricardo Pineda on lap 13 is P8. Jerson Robia exiting pits on softs. J.Enriquez in T4 is P3, 4.1 behind Jean-Pierre Ferrand. Christian Gomez in T10A is first. Yanli in T8 is P9, 4.2 behind Ricardo Pineda. Jose Miguel Moncada in T1 on lap 16 is 5th. The leader has just finished the race. Christian Gomez finished P1. Jerson Robia finished P11. Jean-Pierre Ferrand finished P2. J.Enriquez finished P3. Juan Pablo Aristizabal finished P4. Esteban Gomez finished 6th. Camilo Gomez finished 7th. Jose Miguel Moncada finished P5. Yanli finished P8. Ricardo Pineda finished P9. Ortiz finished P10. The race session is at 2018, layout in Road Atlanta, USA. Jerson Robia from Colombia is P1 on softs. Diego Ortiz from Colombia is P2 on mediums. Ricardo Pineda from Colombia is third on mediums. Yanli from China is P4 on mediums. Camilo Gomez from Colombia is P5 on mediums. Esteban Gomez from Colombia is 6th on softs. Jose Miguel Moncada from Colombia is 7th on mediums. Juan Pablo Aristizabal from Colombia is 8th on mediums. J.Enriquez from Colombia is 9th on mediums. Jean-Pierre Ferrand from Colombia is 10th on softs. Christian Gomez from Colombia is P11 on mediums. Jerson Robia is first. Race start. Juan Pablo Aristizabal in T1 is fourth. Ricardo Pineda in the SEs is 6th. Christian Gomez in T6 is 8th. Jean-Pierre Ferrand is 3rd. Jean-Pierre Ferrand passed Juan Pablo Aristizabal for P2. Juan Pablo Aristizabal in T11 is P3. Jerson Robia in T1 is P4, 0.2 behind Juan Pablo Aristizabal. Jerson Robia passed Juan Pablo Aristizabal for P3. Esteban Gomez in the SEs is 5th on softs, 0.3 behind Juan Pablo Aristizabal. J.Enriquez in T6 is P7 on mediums, 0.2 behind Ricardo Pineda. Jean-Pierre Ferrand is 2nd. Best lap is a 1:26.170, 2.499 off the fastest lap. Ricardo Pineda in T10B is 7th on mediums, 0.4 behind J.Enriquez. Jean-Pierre Ferrand in T4 is P2, 0.5 behind Yanli. Jerson Robia is P3, 0.5 behind Jean-Pierre Ferrand. J.Enriquez is 7th on mediums, 0.2 behind Christian Gomez. Jean-Pierre Ferrand is 2nd, 0.1 behind Yanli. Jerson Robia in T12 is 3rd, 0.2 behind Jean-Pierre Ferrand. Jean-Pierre Ferrand in T3 is P2, 0.4 behind Yanli. Jean-Pierre Ferrand is now P1. Ricardo Pineda entering the pits is 11th. Esteban Gomez is 4th, 0.3 behind Yanli. Jerson Robia from Colombia is P2, 0.8 behind Jean-Pierre Ferrand. Ricardo Pineda exiting pits on mediums. Christian Gomez in T11 is P5, 0.3 behind Esteban Gomez. Jerson Robia in T4 is P2, 0.5 behind Jean-Pierre Ferrand. Esteban Gomez is P4, 0.6 behind Yanli. Esteban Gomez was 1.8 faster last lap. Juan Pablo Aristizabal entering the pits is P10. Jerson Robia is 2nd on softs, 0.5 behind Jean-Pierre Ferrand. Ricardo Pineda entering the pits is 11th. Christian Gomez in T12 on lap 5 is P5, 0.3 behind Esteban Gomez. Jose Miguel Moncada entering the pits is P7. Esteban Gomez in T3 is P5, 0.3 behind Christian Gomez. Camilo Gomez entering the pits is P9. Ricardo Pineda exiting pits. Jerson Robia is P2. Jose Miguel Moncada exiting pits. Christian Gomez in T8 is P4, 0.4 behind Yanli. Gomez exiting pits. Yanli in T10A is fourth, 0.5 behind Christian Gomez. J.Enriquez in T12 is 6th. Juan Pablo Aristizabal exiting pits. Gerson Robia in T6 is 2nd, 0.5 behind Jean-Pierre Perrin. J.Enriquez is 6th, 0.2 behind Esteban Gomez. Gerson Robia in T10B is 2nd. Esteban Gomez in T10B is P6, 0.3 behind J.Enriquez. Esteban Gomez passed J.Enriquez for 5th. Gerson Robia in T6 is 2nd, 0.8 behind Jean-Pierre Perrin. Gerson Robia was 0.5 faster last lap. J.Enriquez from Colombia in T8 is 6th, 1.0 behind Esteban Gomez. Gerson Robia in the SEs is P2, 1.2 behind Jean-Pierre Perrin. J.Enriquez from Colombia is P6, 0.9 behind Esteban Gomez. Gerson Robia in T1 is 2nd on softs, 1.1 behind Jean-Pierre Perrin. J.Enriquez in T1 is P6, 0.5 behind Esteban Gomez. Esteban Gomez is 6th. Christian Gomez in T1 is P3, 2.5 behind Jerson Robia. Jerson Robia is second, 0.5 behind Jean-Pierre Ferrand. Esteban Gomez in the S's is P6, 0.2 behind J.Enriquez. Camilo Gomez entering the pits is 9. Christian Gomez in T9 is P3, 0.5 behind Jean-Pierre Ferrand. Ricardo Pineda entering the pits is 10. Jean-Pierre Ferrand in T10B is P3. Camilo Gomez exiting pits on mediums. Ricardo Pineda exiting pits on mediums. J.Enriquez is 5th, 0.9 behind Yanli. J.Enriquez was 2.3 faster last lap. Jose Miguel Moncada in T10B is 8th, 0.6 behind Diego Ortiz. Jose Miguel Moncada was 1.1 faster last lap. J.Enriquez in T8 is 5th, 0.4 behind Yanli. Yanli in T10A is 5th, 0.4 behind J.Enriquez. Juan Pablo Aristizabal entering the pits is 11th. Esteban Gomez in T3 is P6, 0.5 behind Yanli. Camilo Gomez entering the pits is P10. Juan Pablo Aristizabal exiting pits on softs. Jose Miguel Moncada is 8th. Best lap is a 1:16.569. 3.218 off the fastest lap. Esteban Gomez is 6th, 0.5 behind Yanli. Esteban Gomez was 1.0 faster last lap. Camilo Gomez exiting pits on softs. Yanli in T2 is P5, 3.6 behind J.Enriquez. J.Enriquez was 2.6 faster last lap. Camilo Gomez entering the pits is 10th. Camilo Gomez exiting pits on softs. Esteban Gomez is 6th, 4.2 behind Yanli. Ferrand in T1 is third. Camilo Gomez in T10B is 11th on softs. Camilo Gomez entering the pits is P11. Diego Ortiz in T1 is 8th on mediums, 0.8 behind Jose Miguel Moncada. Diego Ortiz was 1.7 faster last lap. Camilo Gomez exiting pits on softs. Diego Ortiz passed Jose Miguel Moncada for P7. Jean-Pierre Ferrand is P3. The leader has just finished the race. Gerson Robia finished P1. Diego Ortiz finished 7th. Christian Gomez finished P2. Jose Miguel Moncada finished P8. Jean-Pierre Ferrand finished 3rd. Ricardo Pineda finished P9. J.Enriquez finished P4. Camilo Gomez finished P11. Yanli finished 5th. Esteban Gomez finished 6th. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is P10. Juan Pablo Aristizabal finished 10th.